What's up, bruh?
Another day, man. Getting through the week.
Another day, another dollar. Keep on pushing.
Yes, sir.
Oh, we got all the interesting news going down this week. It low key been a funny week, man. Like
Yes,
it's
it has.
it's been a funny week, man. Like
Shout
just
out Robert Kraft, my man.
hey, my man Bobby K, as he like to go about when he in Jupiter, Jupiter, Florida. Call me
Down there
Bobby.
getting it. Down there getting it in. I see you, boy. I see you.
Call me
See.
Bobby, baby. That's how he be rolling up in the club, up in them spas.
I'm starting out. Hey, I'm starting out to hate the Patriots, man. He did have Cardi B. After they won
Right.
Super Bowl, he had Cardi B showing out. He's on stage dancing, getting it,
Hey,
showing love.
He helped free Meek Mill. He was like the one that spearhead Meek Mill. Hey, Bobby Kraft, he trying to be down with the brothers. I don't know
Hey,
how much
hey,
brother
man.
is gonna know.
Get into that later. Get into that later.
You're right. You're right.
Go ahead, talk about Zion, man.
Hey, we definitely gonna get into that later. But yeah, for sure, let's talk about Zion. I mean, Zion had a crazy week. He busting through his shoe. It looked like a scene from a TV show. Like it just seemed almost unreal. He bust through it so clean. And now the discussion of should he even bother playing again? You seeing the memes pop up of like there goes Nike's endorsement deal with him. Like they
Right. Definitely going to
Adidas
Puma.
creeping in like, oh shit. Adidas had that pimp walk through the door like they knew they had it locked up. So yeah, man, Zion, man, he had a crazy week. Duke is probably in some hot water right now. Not no probably they are. We just talked about that last time we was on here. What I said, the last person they want to lose,
Yeah,
Zion. I
Zion.
think we jinxed it or something because it happened. So,
Oh,
real quick
you
though,
think? You
what'd you
think?
think about the shoe situation, man? Busting through his shoes, man. First thought.
Man. I tell Zion, you at Duke, man, stop wearing your shoes so many times in a row. That's number one. They throwing away shoes. Now I understand you got to break them in, but they got enough money for you, man. It was clear them shoes were worn down, and he finally just went on and bust through them, But just a freak accident. I was scared when I saw him go down holding his knee. I thought it was worse, but thankfully it's just a sprain. So, I mean, that's all my thoughts on the shoe, man.
When I saw the shoe bust, my first immediate thought went to kind of the jokes, and I wasn't thinking about it in a joking perspective. I was thinking about it from a business sense. Nike is, been so hot for so many years, but in recent years, you've been seeing Adidas make this push with some of the athletes they've been making and the products they've been pushing, and Puma trying to make a comeback. This the wrong time to lose. If they lose, we don't know that if that's happened, but if you lose the interest of a top prospect, it's the wrong time to do it when everybody making a push. That was my first thought. Of course, always go to business. So I immediately thought about business. But same thing with you. When I saw him grab his knee, it made sense. If this shoe go down and all the pressure go on this knee, obviously that knee gonna buckle. So I'm thinking like, oh man, I hope that ain't worse because it could be bad in that situation. So luckily it was a mild sprain. Considering it was a mild sprain and it was a scare, and he's going to be able to escape this one, do you think he should play again this season? That's the meat and potatoes.
Yeah, if he's healthy. That's my whole thing. If he's completely healthy and there's there's very small chance or no chance at all that he could, further damage it, he should play. I mean, he's a basketball player. He's not. First of all, we need to understand he's not playing football. So that's a whole nother discussion for another day. He's a basketball player. And to be honest with you, man, the kid grew up about an hour and a half away from where I'm at. And the word is he is a gym rat. So if he's not playing for Duke, he's going to be playing somewhere else. He might as well get as much experience as he can from one of the greatest coaches of all time. That's another thing. He's got Coach K, man. You have to play as many games as possible as you can with that man. I know, I can't stand Duke, but I respect Coach K. I know how great he is, man. He needs to play as much as he can, learn as much as he can while he's in college, and get the experience of the tournament. You don't get a chance to go back and do that. You don't want to go down the line and say, man, I wish I would have played in the tournament. Yeah, you're right there. Go ahead and play. As long as he's healthy, play. He's an athlete. That's what athletes do.
The irony of hearing you say the same person that say you don't like Duke because everybody want to graduate and stuff. No, get up out of there. To hear you say play as much as you can up under Coach K is just ironic. But I don't disagree.
Hold up. As much as you can in 1 year. Let's be clear. After that 1 year, it's time to go get paid.
What it does.
Now the rules changing, so
that's a little better. Day. That's a little better. That sounds more like it coming from you. But I mean, I don't disagree with the idea of getting as much knowledge as you can from a Coach K, because Coach K is a legend, and he's the only coach who can take 15 of the top players in the NBA every 4 years and make them love him, and they actually learn from him. You know, like these guys who are in the prime of their careers go to the Olympics, play with him, and they love him. They every single time they come back from the Olympics, they say they grew. They feel like they grew as a player, and that comes from, and the only common denominator over the last 24 years, or however many years it's been since he's been doing, I think 24, is Coach K. That's the only common denominator. The faces have changed, but the results have been the same. The comments have been the same. Coach K is the common denominator, so I understand that part. However, I'm of the mindset that he should probably sit it down, man. You know, injuries is a tricky thing. You look at Michael Porter Jr., for example. He number one player coming out. The injuries piled up. He came back too soon, got injured again, and now he still ain't played in his first game, and he lost a lot of money. Now, we're going to touch on that in a second. I don't think Zion's going to lose money. I don't think Zion's going to lose money. But Michael Porter Jr., if he was healthy, probably would have been a top 5 pick. He ended up dropping to 15 to the Nuggets. You know, so that's a huge drop. That's a lot of money he lost from injuries. I'm of the mindset that probably sit it down, man. Like, you done proved who you are. Everybody knew who you was before, because you a rare high school phenom that took over the internet. You know, like a lot of guys, kids in high school have mixtapes and stuff like that, but you literally took over the internet. Like every video had a million views, every one of them, you know, so people knew who you was, but now you've proven that you really are that deal. Like you doing it against the best players in the country. You in a tough conference in the ACC in basketball. I don't see any reason for him to risk it. Yeah, I understand the tournament thing, but you ain't getting paid. And we're going to discuss that on another show about college athletes, but you ain't getting paid. Is it really worth risking losing any sort of money? With that being said, do you think that no matter what happens, Zion is still the top pick in the draft?
And see, that's the key point to all of this. He's a special case, man. If he goes out there and he tears his ACL, is he still going to be a top 3 pick? Yes. Yeah. Without question. That's where his situation is a little bit different. No matter what happens, that kid is getting picked top 3. And that's why, you know, if you're a kid that's, you know, maybe top 10, you know, top 5, you already got that, maybe sit down. Everybody's situation is different. But for him, he's guaranteed, man. Go enjoy college while you're in there and go play. And that's why I feel so confidently about saying that he should play. Because he's going to get the top 3 pick, and he's probably going to be number 1 overall, regardless. Like, we see what he can do. He's a monster. Everybody knows it. And not only that, he's going to sell tickets. He's exciting to watch. He's one of the most exciting players in college and the NBA to watch. So, yeah, he should play.
Get this. The professionals of the ticket pricing and calculating and all that stuff say Zion by himself is responsible for $1,500 worth of the jump in prices. The average ticket for the game against North Carolina specifically, in that game, tickets was costing $3,500. That's the same price as Super Bowl tickets. Okay, and it became this is a rivalry game that's always sold out. The crowd is always rocking, no matter whose stadium it's in. It's always rocking, always sold out. But this was the first time it became a celebrity game. It was about who's going to be there more so than the actual game. You know, you see Barack Obama there and all these other athletes coming in, and football season over, so half the stadium was NFL players. This was the first time in my lifetime I saw a college basketball game that had more celebrities and millionaires than it did college students. Like it was a packed house. It was the game everybody came to see, and Zion was the main attraction. Zion is the one that caused the tickets to go through the roof. Zion is he's a lottery ticket going in. There's going to be a lottery pick no matter what. But the thing is, if he gets hurt, is he still the number one overall pick? Every time you drop a pick, you lose a lot of money. you lose the difference in money between pick 1 and 3 is massive. So you obviously don't want to lose that. And that's why I say if I'm him, I probably would sit it down. I do love the fact that if you don't, you get to learn from Coach K. That would be if anything made me not sit down if I'm Zion, it would be that one thing. I get the tournament and I get the opportunity to play in the tournament. But you yourself don't even believe they going nowhere in the tournament. So why you think they're going to be knocked out in the second round. So that shouldn't even matter to you, So I look at it and I say the only thing I can throw into there, the factor is Coach K. But is Coach K worth millions and millions of dollars if I get hurt again? I would say no. With that being said, Duke, if he's not back, what happens with Duke? Where do you see this going for Duke?
Well, I told you before the season started, I didn't expect them to go far at all.
Yeah.
I expect them to lose early in the tournament. People talking about I'm crazy. And I was like, well, there's two main reasons why. Number one, they're not a good shooting team. Zion being gone, that it doesn't even matter. He can't really shoot yet. He's working on it. But the other part is they don't have a bench. People were so excited about them getting the top 3 players. But who else is playing? They got some other cool guys, but this is not a loaded team like Kentucky back in the day when you got John Wall coming off the bench. That's not who Duke is. They are top heavy, and those guys are not shooters yet. They have 1, maybe 2 shooters. If Cam Reddish is off in any way, they are going to lose. And it being a tournament, you have one game, and you see it all the time. Teams come in. Their jumper is off a little bit. They play against an older squad with juniors and seniors. It's knocking down threes from everywhere, moving the ball, taking charges. You're going home. That's what I see for Duke, whether Zion is playing or not. Don't get me wrong, they still could go to the Final Four, but I don't see them winning the championship because of those 2 reasons. Those are legit reasons, even though they're top heavy. And, they're the top 2 players are averaging 52 points a game. Who else is scoring, consistently? Like, if one of them, that's the problem with them. Those top 3 players that they have, if any of them are off a little bit, they're done. And that's just not good for tournament success. So how far they go, I'm pretty sure they'll play well down the stretch. I mean, Coach K is still there. But I'm not picking them to win championship whether Zion comes back or not. That's not hating, man.
I know. And beginning of the season, you and I talked about it a lot. And me personally, I was a huge fan of because of Coach K. Coach K is always going to be my common denominator in anything involving Duke basketball. And because of Coach K, I was still a huge fan because Coach K has never had players like this, come in. However, this is the weakest overall team he's had. I can't even remember the last time I seen a team that wasn't as skilled overall as this team. Coach K has always had a deep bench. He's always had a bench loaded with seniors and juniors and stuff. So he's always had that experience. This is the first time in a long time that he hasn't had a bunch of experience on his roster. So, I was still of the mindset of Coach K is still a great enough coach that if he has these 3 players and if they stay healthy, they can still make a push for the Final Four.
Of course.
However, just looking at what I've seen so far, the inconsistency with the bench, when those guys, any one of those 3, 4 really, because Trey Jones too, he's not a scorer, but he's a true facilitator, a playmaker. When any of those 4 guys are not in the game, whether it's foul trouble, they just getting a breather, whatever it is, or if they have an off game, what we have seen from the bench has given me zero hope. Because while those 4 are obviously going to play, 35 of the 40 total minutes, those 5 minutes where they're not on the floor, you need
to go on a 15-0 run. 15-0.
You don't need the bench to play crazy good in those 5 minutes. All you need them to do is not blow it. But they have blown it more times than not in those 5 minutes. And then you see Duke having to come back. You see Zion having to take over a game. You see RJ Barrett having to make some crazy shot, or Cam Reddish just get hot and start dropping threes.
Right.
That's the problem. Right. And that's why I say that I've taken a step back on my stance. I'm not sold that it's going to be the Final Four. I don't know if they're going to lose in the second round. Like you said, Sweet 16 might be,
Second round. They out of there.
The best they can do. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Speaking of postseason basketball, the Lakers. I'm getting tired of LeBron, man.
You go. I'm gonna let you go on your rant. Do what you need to do, man.
Listen,
I just need taking notes.
Listen, LeBron James. All right. First. Let me just read some quotes for you. All right, and some dates. Because he contradicts himself more than anybody, and it's crazy. And this is what I meant when we was talking a few weeks ago, and we was talking about him coming back and him playing. And the next game, he decided he wasn't going to play against Golden State, and I was like, I feel like he did that on purpose. And you said, no, you don't think so? And I said, yeah, because he likes to play certain narratives. He tries to play his game and live his life more like a soap opera than it is focusing on championships sometimes, in my eyes. And this is what he said February 21st. He said, it's been activated. He said it's been activated. He said, obviously, we would have loved to have success when I was out, but we didn't. So this is where we at right now. I'm going to be a little bit different and a little bit earlier than I would like to be in previous years. That, first off, when I first heard that, before I even read the next quote, when I heard that, I was like, what kind of shit is this? So you telling me you ain't been going hard? Exactly what I was saying when he set out against the Warriors. So you don't even try? Like, what the hell? Like, but then you gonna complain about you needing help? You're not even gonna try.
Hold on. Let me interject you just a little bit.
I know what you about to think.
Every great player raises their game to another level when it's that time. Go ahead.
I knew. My point is, it took you 60 games to realize that you needed to elevate your play. Just 60 games in, that's when you decided to do this. So that's February 21st, he says that, okay? Here's where the contradiction comes into play. 3 days later, they play New Orleans. They lose. He's interviewed post-game. Here's the question that was asked. He said, first, before the question, he said, you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. I feel like a lot of times our team looks uncomfortable out there. No one wants to take shots that they're uncomfortable taking, which I also thought was ironic coming from LeBron. But, he said, you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So then a reporter asked him, do the losses feel differently now than they did earlier in the season? His response to that question was no. Everyone is accustomed to losses around here, and I'm not accustomed to losses. I will never get comfortable with losing. Losing game 1 in Houston feels the same as losing game 59 in New Orleans. Now, here's my issue with that. To say that to literally say I've been activated, like that, I feel like he purposely say stuff just to try to get a headline, like, who says that? Who talks like that? It's been activated. Like, what? like, no. Like, for you to say that, you're confirming that that your team needs you to play harder just to make it to the postseason. Because what he also said in that same post-game press conference was, these guys have never been to the postseason. They're young, so they don't know what they're playing for. So you're saying you do. And then for you to turn around and say that, you're not accustomed to losing, but here it is. You've been losing this whole time, and you just now figuring out that you need to kick it up a gear. Come on, man. Like, I don't know if it's really him about to kick it up a gear, because I didn't even see that. Like, I really didn't. I didn't see NBA Finals LeBron, because I didn't see him trying to go for 40, 10, and 15. I didn't even. He said that, went to the Pelicans and played like the same LeBron we've been seeing. And then he started talking about conditioning after the game. Well, then don't say that's what you're going to do if you ain't physically ready. You feel me? Like,
Yeah, he's out of shape. He's out of shape right now. You can tell.
LeBron, to me, is more focused on narratives and stuff like that than the actual game. When you say stuff like, "Oh, I've already proven myself and gotten my ring, and from this point on, everything else is just icing." What kind of shit is that? This
right.
is
why are you playing?
Exactly. This is what I mean when I say it's hard for me to respect LeBron. This is how he lost a fan in 2010 when I watched him literally not even try because he was in his feelings. These are the type of things that back up that mind frame where he disappeared against the Mavericks, just completely disappeared. His mind frame is not solely focused on being the best player on the floor at all times and turn your throat out. He want to win every game. That's not his mind frame. His mind frame is narratives, looking cool, sounding cool, because he contradicts himself so much by trying to sound cool with so many topics. I can't get down with that. LeBron, quit contradicting yourself. You sound like a straight up fool, clown. You worry more about your hairline than you do making your teammates better. You worry more about your coaches getting fired than you do elevating your coaches. Phil Jackson looks like a genius, a legend, because the players he coached, they elevated this mother. You don't even do that. You want to, oh man, coach, man. Oh, this player here. But you wasn't giving them all compliments and stuff when they was on the trade deadline, on the trade block. Nah, you ain't had nothing to say. You went ghost. LeBron, the only player I've ever seen in my life in the history of sports, not just basketball. When he was in Cleveland, this fool went to Brazil to watch a soccer game during the season while his team was playing. That's the only player I've ever seen it. He's more about star power than he is championships. That's why I can't respect him, man. That to me is a bum mentality. I respect LeBron off the court. I love everything he done off the court, but he's two different people. Off the court, LeBron is a GOAT. He is the GOAT. On the court, LeBron is a he could be, but he's not. LeBron, I ain't got no respect for LeBron on the court. That's as simple as that. Go ahead.
I can't believe you got on here talking about LeBron's hairline when I can barely see yours right now, boy. You got a lot of nerve. You got a lot of nerve, man. A lot of nerve to talk about anybody's
and I hope it hurt.
God, I'll tell you what. This is my problem with the interview, man. And it really, first of all, everything he said was true. Let's be real. Everything that he said was true. My issue is, why are you saying it? Why? We don't, again, that's for us to say. That is not for you as the leader of the squad to say that. Now, here's the other two things. He said two words in that interview, and I just looked at the TV like, bruh, what? And the two words he said that he values as very important on the team is chemistry and camaraderie. Dude, you were just trying to trade everybody on the whole squad. What? And you hold up. No, you had your turn. This is, how do you expect to have chemistry when you just tried to trade everybody? Camaraderie, they don't respect you. Dog, I watched the other game when they played the Rockets and they had that good comeback win. It was very impressive. They locked in on defense. Before they started coming back, there was a little moment in there. Don't make a big deal out of it. But him and Kuzma was getting into it. And, Kuzma basically was like, man, you could just tell in the body language. I'm not saying this is what he said. I'm not even saying it's true. But as I'm watching TV and I see that LeBron is trying to tell Kuzma something and Kuzma is firing back, like, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
I don't have to listen to you. Dog, you didn't want me here. That's what I see. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the reasons why they are inconsistent. Because, and this is so irritating about all of this. I'll take you back to the last time to me that they were a team, and that was their time when they blew out Golden State. LeBron got hurt, which to me has pretty much put them in the position that they're in. If he hadn't got hurt, they'd be in the playoffs right now. I mean, come on. They went 6-12 without him. That's not happening if he's on the floor. All right. But they looked really good. They looked like a team. They were moving the ball. They were helping on defense. They were talking. They were communicating. They looked like a team that could give the Warriors some competition. Again, we don't expect you to beat the Warriors, bro. Nobody does. Not with that team. We know that. But it's not for you to constantly degrade your teammates, trying to trade them, messing up all the chemistry. Then you come back and you expect them to want to listen to you and play hard and have chemistry. That chemistry was gone a month ago. It's gone. And I don't know how you get it back. I really don't. And on top of that, him being hurt has caused him to gain some weight. If you watch him play, he's lost some of his explosion. Some of it is due to his age, but it's because he's gained some weight. You can see he's bigger. He's out of shape. He's trying to get back into shape. You can't, me and you both know, when you pull a growing hamstring, you can't run.
Yeah.
The only thing you can do is walk. You have to sit down. It's one of those injuries that you just have to sit down. You have to wait it out. Because if you start running again too fast, you're going to re-pull it. It's going to get even worse. You might tear it. So he's trying to get back into shape. And defensively, he looks awful. He looks about as bad as James Harden now. He's on Harden level of defense. He's on that level. Like, no jokes aside. I don't need to look at that. I know what the hell I'm watching. He looks terrible. And, and the thing is, that's their biggest problem right now, besides shooting. How the hell you give up 130 points to the Pelicans and Anthony Davis didn't even play? How is that possible? What the hell are y'all doing? Are you serious? They dropped 40 in the first quarter, the Pelicans, bro. Get out of here, man. They are not going. They don't want to follow him, man. You can see it, dog. The young guys who he needs don't want to follow him. Now, the older guys, like I said before, Rondo, Lance Stevenson, Tyson Chandler, JaVale McGee, they don't care about trade talks. They veterans. They know they're going to get paid the same amount of money no matter where they at. Lance Stevenson's so silly, he probably thinking, man, shit, if I go to New Orleans, taxes ain't as high as L.A., I'm good. That's how they think. He don't care. Right. He going to ball. He going to play. But those two are not the most important players. He got to pull in Ingram, Kuzma, Lonzo Ball when he come back, Caldwell, Pope, Hart. Those are the guys he's not getting to, man. And I'm telling you, they don't want to listen to him. There's no chemistry. There's no camaraderie on that team. And I tell you this, man, just an example. Team I hate, the Warriors. Can't stand them. But their leader, Steph Curry, is the reason why they have so much chemistry. We don't even hear about Draymond and KD no more. That could have blew up. But you know why? Yep. You know why it didn't? Because Steph's in the locker room. Steve Kerr, of course. That helps. But Steph is the guy. Steph is the one that comes in there, if everything's bad, he start playing around, betting Klay Thompson on how many dunks he going to get. All of a sudden, he's joking about the threes. They're a team. The Warriors are a team. That's another reason why it's so hard to beat them, because they are a true team on both ends of the floor, communicating, talking, like all of that. You're not going to see that with the Lakers, man. They're a bunch of individuals with whole other agendas. Even Kuzma, man. I see Kuzma doing his own thing out there.
You know what? Two things you said that I wanted to highlight. The first being what caused them to play so well when LeBron first got hurt. I keep saying it, and I'm going to say it a million times. The simple truth of the matter is Lonzo Ball does not get the credit he deserves because he ain't putting up 30 points a game. But his impact is on that game, it is hard to replace. I don't think people realize how good Lonzo Ball really is. If you going to play like he plays, I don't even want you to put up 30 a game. We can find somebody else to do that, because what he does as a facilitator, as a defender, as a rebounder, the way he controls the game, when LeBron ain't on the court slowing the damn game down, Lonzo push that thing. Lonzo will push it. You feel me? Like, it ain't no slow basketball when he on the court. He played like the Warriors did when they won 70 games. The ball is moving quick. It's that simple. Lonzo's impact cannot be understated. Everybody, I think people get too focused on 30 points a game and all that stuff and how much you score. When Steve Nash won MVP, which he should not have won over Kobe, I'll be the first to admit that.
Nah, he should have won.
But
and
the
that's
reason
coming from the
won,
biggest Kobe fan ever.
Even though he averaged, 17 points a game, and he was like 20th in the league in scoring, it was his impact on the game that caused him to win it. When Derrick Rose won it at 25 points a game, he wasn't the highest scorer in the league, but his impact in games. Lonzo does not have to score a bunch of points to impact the game. That's what people don't realize. That's number one. And that's also part of the reason why it's so hard for them to win right now, even with LeBron back. He ain't got that other guy on the floor that was having a huge impact. But then also the other thing is, I said this before, and I'm going to keep saying it because people think I'm crazy when I say it. LeBron James, one of the best players we have ever seen step on the floor, is also one of the biggest cancers you will ever have in your locker room. It's funny, but it's true. It's so true. And I think it's hard for people to wrap their head around because he's a nice guy and stuff. But you can be a nice guy and be a cancer. LeBron James, because of his antics with the headlines, how I said he tried to play narratives and all this stuff, and how he tries to get people in and out, and how he tries to control so much on the team. You can control all that and still get people to buy into you. But the fact that he tries to control stuff and then he goes mum when the shit hits the fan, like with the trade rumors and all that stuff, he ain't say nothing to ease those guys' pain, concern, nothing. He's real quiet. And then after the trades fell through, we need these guys and all this stuff. And then now they're looking at him. Kuzma looking at him like, Chump, like, where was you a few weeks ago? And when you're dealing with these young guys like that, they already hard-headed because they're young. The fact that you broke that trust, man, they ain't never gonna listen to you. Right now, and it makes it worse when you're LeBron James, because these guys are 21 and 22 years old. And who did they grow up watching? They grew up watching LeBron, idolizing LeBron, looking up to LeBron. It hurts more when your dad disappoints you than your uncle, because you look up more to your dad than your uncle. The person you look up more to, when they disappoint you, it's going to bother you more. They idol disappointed them, and that's a problem, man. LeBron's a cancer, flat out. I know you want to touch on that, but go ahead.
And it's so, I don't want to call him a cancer because he's so good, man. But
it's true.
The things that comes with him, you could just see it. His problem, for me, his problem, it goes back to Cleveland the first time.
Yeah.
Before he left to Miami, you never heard Trey talk with LeBron. Never. He just played ball. You know what I mean? And the things didn't work out for him. But since then, my man has been trying to trade everybody. He's been trying to get rid of coaches. Him and D Wade was trying to get rid of Spoelstra.
Yeah. Remember when he ran into Spoelstra? You clear as day ran into this man on camera and then said, "Oh, we just accidentally brushed over." You literally thrust it to him. He tried. How many coaches has LeBron been through? Seriously. The NBA is not like the NFL. You don't see coach changes. You get hired 1 year. Oh, it's not good enough. You fired the next year. LeBron James has been through so many coaches, and it's abnormal for the NBA. It don't even make sense, especially when you're one of the best players. You look at the history of sports. The best players do not go through coaches because they're so good. They keep coaches around. Like they're the reason coaches get stuck.
Right. And I mean, and there's a lot of truth to that, a lot of truth to it, because Spoelstra has turned out to be a top 5 coach in the league now.
Yes.
Now, when he first started, no, I thought he was doing an awful job sometimes. Let's be real. He was not doing a good job, man. He made no adjustments. But see, now that he's grown a little bit, now he's a top coach. And the thing is, some of the coaches he's had, we don't know if they were good or not. The only one to me that was garbage was Mike Brown.
Here's my question to you, though. Here's my question to you. Because what you just said also can be said about Eric Spoelstra. You didn't know how good he was because of LeBron. See, whenever you have LeBron, you don't get to coach the way you want to coach. That's a fact. That's That's a fact. LeBron James is gonna run this weak ISO, slowly bring the ball up court, and all this other stuff. It's a ball control game that he plays. When you coaching LeBron, you don't get to coach the way that you want to coach. You don't find it a little odd the second LeBron was out the
I find it very odd. It's very odd. It's very odd because Miami moves the ball now. As soon as he left, they started moving the ball and they played better defense. The thing is, the problem with his career is he's never had a coach when he was young to tell him, no, shut up. Stop running that damn pick and roll all the time. We practice the offense. What the hell are you doing in the game? You got to believe in the offense. And the problem with him is he had Mike Brown to start off. Mike Brown didn't coach at all. He just gave him the ball and told him to go. And they locked in on defense, and they made it to the finals. So that's success to him. He had success doing that. He dragged the sorry team to the finals that year. And it's really been biting him in the butt ever since because people don't understand there's more ways to make your teammates better than just being the one that passes it to them. There's a reason why Bill Wennington, who's garbage, people probably don't even remember him, he's sorry. But what is the one thing Bill Wennington was good at? A 15-footer on the baseline. Tell me why he always got that damn shot. It's because you allow the offense to get him that shot. I really wanted to see him this year. Let Luke run the offense and let the offense get assists so you can save your energy, man. We don't need you to do all of that all the time. And really, it's been a problem for him. He's never had a coach to make him run an offense, make him lock on defense, because to me, he really has only played great defense in this league for 4 years, and that was their 4 years in Miami. Other than that, he's either been average or below average defender, and for somebody with that much God-given talent, it makes no sense. And even right now, I know he's not in shape. I give him that due to the injury. He's lost some explosion, but you see his explosion on offense when he wants to go around you. So if you still have that explosion on offense, you should be able to play defense. That is what y'all are missing right now. I'm telling you, those kids will follow him if he brings that intensity on defense. They will follow him. Every good team has their number one guy plays defense. Look at the Bucks right now. Giannis is the number one defender in the league.
Look at Paul George.
Paul George. I think he's number 2. Kawhi Leonard. These teams play good defense. It's because their superstar plays defense. So he needs to lead by example, man. 130 points, that's ridiculous.
You know what? That's the truth, especially when you take in the fact that this young team actually enjoys playing defense. They love it.
They should be good at it.
When LeBron ain't on the court, I promise whatever 5 players is, especially when Lonzo is healthy, you see them pressing guys full court all over, hassling them, and they get stops, so they actually enjoy it. That's why I say I agree. If you seen your best player step up and start going at it on defense, 100% they're gonna start the stuff that made them mad gonna start to roll off their back. It's that simple. But until LeBron started to make some changes with how he communicate, how he handle the media, what he says about them or don't say about them, and play some defense, man, you ain't gonna see no changes. And personally, LeBron been doing it his way for so long. I just don't see it changing for him. I would not be surprised if even with LeBron playing the last 20 games that's remaining, he's played the last 6, 7, 8 games, whatever it has been. It really hasn't looked that much different from when he wasn't playing. Even if he plays the last 20 games that's remaining, the last 22 games, I still am skeptical if they even gonna make the playoffs. This is what
I still say they're gonna make it. They're going to make it. And the reason why is the Clippers are not trying to make it. So let's just cancel them out. They're not trying to make the playoffs. And after all this we talking, man, I still believe that LeBron James will get to the playoffs. I can't imagine this man not making the playoffs, bro. I'm sorry. I can't go that far. He's too good. And once he just – I know. I'm just telling you what I believe. Yeah. I believe they're going to make it. I feel like when he does turn that switch on, when he really turns it on, man, they're going to at least get to the playoffs.
Yeah. So speaking of just a team just falling apart, you just see a demise in front of you.
I see what you did there. I like that.
Yeah, I know. Let's switch over to the NFL. You see, I've seen a lot of stuff in my day. Been on this earth for 31 years now. You know, might as well give it that one. Sadly, you know, we there. But in these 31 years, I ain't never seen in the NFL what I seen happen over the last 2 years with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, real quick, you got Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, and Ben Roethlisberger. Here's my thoughts before we dive too far into this on Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger, to me, has never been a top 5 quarterback because they would try to paint him as sometimes. Never saw that in him. But no matter what, for the past 10 years, 10 to 14 years, whatever it's been, since his run began, I would say that Ben Roethlisberger has consistently been anywhere from a top 8 to a top 12 quarterback. Consistently. But when you have Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, that's where I stop and say you have the ingredients to always, at the very least, be in the conference championship game.
Hold up. You missing some others. You talking about Juju and when they had Martavis Bryant.
Oh, I'm going to get to him. I'm going to get to him. I'm just strictly talking about those 3 first.
Okay.
When you have those 3 alone, you have the potential to get to, at the very least, the AFC Championship game. Now, to continue my point, what you just said, you'd have had Martavis Bryant, you'd have had Juju. You pulled James Conner out of nowhere. You telling me you had a James Conner in your back pocket? Can you imagine if you have James Conner playing and you have Le'Veon Bell on the field at the same time, and AB over here and Juju over here? What? I don't understand how the Steelers messed this up. Because now you have AB is confirmed he's going to get traded. He met with the owner. He spoke his mind. The owner spoke his mind. From what I hear, it was a completely peaceful meeting. The owner, which means the owner didn't want to let him go, but AB want to go. You know, you have AB leaving. Le'Veon is like, he been chunked to dudes. He ain't even played this year. Le'Veon said, I can't handle it. The biggest report is the biggest. You know, AB gets all the attention, his own fault because of how he goes about it. That's why he gets so much attention. But from my understanding, the biggest issue has been Ben Roethlisberger. You know, like calling players out when you don't need to, the way he carry himself around the locker room. He ain't a leader. You know, my question to you, because I think in my mind, who's to blame for this debacle? Because you just don't. You talking about what as you and I was talking about off air. You have the Patriots who have a player that's a 90 overall or higher, and everybody else be 80s. You know, they just load up on a lot of good enough players. But then you see other teams, they have guys who are 96, 97 overall.
99.
And the next
AB
you know,
99.
Yeah, you know, AB will be a 99, and the next guy will be a 69. But with the Steelers, they had the rare ingredients of a team where you have a 99, a 99, a 95, a 95, a 94. How do you have this many weapons locked in long term and blow it?
It's 3 people that I blame, and I'm not gonna say management because we don't know. Because from what I've heard, that may be part of the reason why Mike Tomlin hasn't been more of a disciplinarian. But I put it like this: 80% of this problem, I hate to do it because I love him so much, man. It's Mike Tomlin. You the head coach. Really? Hold up. He's the head coach. All of this can be shut down by a coach that don't give a damn and will cut your ass or will trade your ass to the Browns. That's what the Patriots do. And you know what I'm saying? Who was that they traded to the Browns randomly that wanted to get paid? He's a DN, a linebacker.
James Harris? No, not James Harris.
No. The one before it.
Billy Porter. What was his first name?
One Porter, man. One Porter. But anyways, you know what I'm talking about.
I know you're talking about.
Dude came in there trying to be the highest paid outside linebacker. traded his ass to the Browns, didn't win a game that year. You know what I'm saying? And see, as a coach, you set that precedent that they cannot talk crazy in the media. You cannot down your teammates in the media. You've been around coaches before. Coaches tell you everything that you're supposed to say, and if you don't say what you're supposed to say, there's discipline for it. In the NFL, you get up out of there. Mike Tomlin has allowed his players to run the team. But the problem with that, who's the veteran leader that they have? Nobody. Because the show ain't been Roethlisberger, which is my next point. He's the quarterback. I put 15% on him because if he had any kind of maturity, none of this ever happened. Why are you constantly calling out players and teammates and not calling yourself out, but throwing 5 interceptions in a damn game? I don't hear you talking. I don't hear you talking about we need to focus in. You just threw 5 interceptions. What are we talking about right now? And then I put the rest on AB. He's a receiver, man. He's not a leader. Receivers can't run a team. I mean, you can be a captain like Larry Fitzgerald, but at the end of the day, your quarterback has to be the captain, followed by the coach's orders. Mike Tomlin is running a ship that he don't know where it's going because he's not directing it. He's letting the players do it. And he's sitting back, you know what I'm saying, kind of like helping them along, but he's not really demanding where this ship got to go. It's his fault. I'm sorry, man. I love Mike Tomlin. Man, I love him. But it's his fault. And like I said with AB, he's a receiver. He's a diva. I'd have been there and got rid of his ass. I don't care, bro. Other receivers. I really don't care. And to be honest, I'm telling you what I would do. Aaron Roethlisberger and AB's ass would be gone. And I bring back Le'Veon Bell. I would have paid him and replaced him because I'm tired of Ben Roethlisberger coming in there whining and crying. I don't know if I'm going to play. Maybe I'll play. Man, get your ass out of here. I'm tired of you, dog. Belichick would have been there and got rid of Roethlisberger, and he would have been there and got rid of Antonio Brown. That's what I'm saying, man. So I put this on Mike Tomlin. And I'm not mad at Le'Veon for sitting out. He's no part of the blame at all. I understood completely what he's doing. Y'all got to pay me all this 1 year about no. I need more years, dog. Y'all putting miles on me. He carrying the ball 20 times, catching the 10. No. Get paid. So I'm cool with that. But Mike Tomlin is definitely the biggest part of the blame, man.
I agree with you 100%. This is going to be one of the rare times where we are 100% in agreement, especially Le'Veon. Like, I agreed so much on Le'Veon, and people be like, oh, what he doing? You know, I heard Deion Sanders, because Deion all about the dollar. You know, he like, oh, you can't offer me $14 million for 1 year and I ain't going to play. Yeah, you can when you know that the next year you're not getting $14 million. You know, like, what Le'Veon wanted was to be paid fairly over the duration of his prime, especially when you touching the ball 400 times.
Yeah, man. He got to get paid.
400 times. You can't touch the ball 400 times and get underpaid. That don't make sense. And that's why when Todd Gurley got paid, the first person to come out on social media and say something was Le'Veon Bell. And it was real subtle. And all he said was, and y'all thought I was crazy. Because he was saying, we as running backs, bell cow running backs that do it all, deserve to get paid more than what we're getting paid. We've been underpaid. And when Todd Gurley got his check, he was like, now you see that I wasn't wrong. Somebody else see it. It's just this team don't.
The other one, hold up. Before you finish, the other one that really validated everything was Earl Thomas. Look at Earl Thomas right now. Yes. Earl Thomas is going to miss out on millions. Because he went out there and he wanted to play for his team. And now look.
Yes, exactly. And that's why I agree with Le'Veon 100%. But then also a part of that, what Antonio Brown and James Harrison, when they was doing their little Instagram live and they was talking about, when they mentioned Le'Veon, they talked about everybody is tired of being Roethlisberger's antics. It wasn't just AB. AB was just the only one willing to speak up because AB had the voice. And because AB is a receiver, and yes, he is a prima donna and a diva and all that stuff like most receivers are, because of those things and how he went about it, he was labeled as the bad guy until you had players like James Harrison and other players who had been in that locker room speak out and say, Emmanuel Sanders was another one who spoke out and say, no, Ben Roethlisberger is a problem. Like he's a major problem. That's when you started to see it come to light. And that's why I say, for me personally, I have to put the blame on Mike Tomlin. Like I've been saying this since the whole thing kicked off. Since Le'Veon decided I'm not going to play, I immediately said, this is where as a head coach, you may not be like Bill Belichick, where you the GM as well, and you controlling contracts and all this other stuff, but you the middleman, you the glue. You telling me you can't pull Le'Veon in the room, pull your GM in the room, and y'all figure this thing out? No, the problem is Mike Tomlin, he just falls back. He falls back and he don't say nothing to nobody. And that includes with the leadership and everything. You have literally just watched the demise of one of the greatest assembled rosters, because this wasn't something they traded for and all this stuff. This was assembled. It was like the Warriors pre-KD. This was built through the draft, assembled through great scouting. The players, they literally got lucky in the sense of the work ethic. You have Le'Veon Bell and AB, two of the top 5 hardest workers in the NFL, bar none, on the same team. You know how hard it is to be one of the hardest workers in the entire NFL? You know how many greats there is? You have 2 of them on one team, and then you have a lazy quarterback. I agree. I said this forever ago. I would have been traded Ben Roethlisberger, especially, here's the point I think you're going to like that I'm getting to, especially when you look at today's NFL. You go back 6, 7, 8 years ago, within this decade, just 6, 7, 8 years ago, they said that this couldn't be done. What's happening right now in the NFL, they said it couldn't be done. And that's all the young spread quarterbacks. If you remember, they didn't want to draft a spread quarterback number 1 overall. They did. Sam Bradford was the first quarterback to come from a spread system that was drafted number 1 overall. Anyway, he was the first one. And that was 2010. 2010 was the first time that you saw a quarterback come from a spread system and get drafted number 1 overall. And then after him, they didn't want to do it again. They said that those guys can't translate to the NFL. And the reason, man, is because there was this old school mind of, we got to make the player fit our system instead of making the system fit the player. And that was the biggest issue. But now you see a Patrick Mahomes, you see a Jared Goff, you see a Carson Wentz, you see Deshaun Watson, you see Baker Mayfield. These boys are killing it. They the wave of the future. They literally, is no easing them in. They coming in and they lighting stuff on fire. They killing it. Of all the players I just named, okay? Of all the quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield, everybody except Baker Mayfield within their first or second year was either in the running or actually won an MVP by their second year. They was in the running for MVPs. Deshaun Watson was in the running his first year. If Carson Wentz didn't get hurt his second year, he would have won it. Patrick Mahomes, it was his second year, but truthfully, it was his first year. Jared Goff last year and this year was in the running. Like, these are all spread quarterbacks. The reason I bring that up is I look at Ben Roethlisberger and I say, when you have that volatile leadership and then he fat and lazy and you don't know what you're going to get,
big time fat.
This man... He helps another quarterback besides Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's not even a guarantee to play because he's a backup. But when he gets in, this happens. Tell me another quarterback that every year, I think 4 years in a row now, he has had at least one game where he threw 5 interceptions. Now, you tell me another quarterback that keeps their job after having them. No, he would have been gone. Like, you can't be turning the ball.
Eli, I'm certain Eli has done it multiple times every season. I don't need to look that up. Don't even nobody else need to look it up. Hey, you talking Eli? It might be
3. He's had 4, but 5 interceptions. I look at that and I say, real talk, I would have been traded Roethlisberger because you can't tell me that one of these desperate teams, they say, "Oh, you're gonna give us Ben Roethlisberger? You will get the first overall pick." I would have went and got me a Deshaun Watson and teamed him up with an AB and a Le'Veon Bell. You could have been did that, but
the problem is the Steelers are living in the past, just like the Giants. Oh, he got 2 Super Bowls. I don't give a damn. I'm trying to win a Super Bowl this year. And you can't get it done for me. I've seen enough, bruh. And you not a good leader. You one of the oldest on the team. You supposed to be the guy. Get your ass out of here, man. I'm tired of Ben Roethlisberger crying and
I
complaining
agree.
every season. Gotta
I
go.
I
I,
agree 100%.
I need his replacement drafted immediately, and I need Mike Tomlin to get a fresh locker room. Get rid of AB. Get rid of all that nonsense. Roll with Juju. Get you some more good players, man, and go. That's
I'm
what
gonna
I.
say this. I'm gonna say this real quick before we move on, real quick. I love Mike Tomlin as well. I truly do. And it's to have a coach who the way he carries himself, I think he's a great football mind, a young black coach that came into the league and really did things the way that he did. I thought that was impressive, and that to me has been a lasting impression. However, stuff with me, unlike what you said, the Steelers and the Giants, how they live in the past, stuff with me don't last forever. You can win you
Nope.
two Super Bowls being Roethlisberger, and I'm gonna get over it. Same thing with Mike Tomlin. For me, I'm starting to get real tired of Mike Tomlin because I look at when he came into this league with as a head coach, he took over a team that was built by Bill Cowher and won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
To me, they have been the most underachieving team in the
Yeah.
NFL since he took over. Because after
Agreed.
the Bill Cowher players dwindled off, retired, and got older and all that stuff, they ain't been the same. The defense has not been good since Bill Cowher's players. Like the defense
Yeah.
is just falling off a cliff. This used to be one of the most feared teams in the NFL for about 30 years straight on defense. You tell me you had defense for 30 years and now all of a sudden you can't find it? Come on, man. Like to me, what Mike Tomlin has done has literally been an underachievement. It has just progressively gotten worse and worse and worse every year
Yeah.
since he's taken over in his 14
He's on the
years.
clock.
He
He's
gotta
on,
be.
he's
He
on the
gotta
clock.
be.
But this is the Steelers though. They don't just get rid of coaches, man.
They don't. I mean, look, Mike Tomlin is only the third coach they've had since 1968, I think.
Exactly.
What? you know, so in 41 years, 51 years, they've only had three coaches. That's impressive, you know. So I get it. They like to stick with their coaches and just wait it out and just I get all that. And it has worked for them in the past. But I'm
Two
looking at
thumbs
Mike Tomlin
up.
and it's trending the wrong way. With that being said, speaking of longevity, you know,
Right.
right now, the team with all the longevity is the Patriots. And the Patriots, no matter what it is, they always in the news for something. This week's news, I mean, look, it's real simple. You know, when it comes to the shield, the NFL shield, you have, and you talk about the Patriots, you have Robert Kraft. But off the field, you got Bobby K, baby. And Bobby K gets it in. Hey, what you got on Robert Kraft, man?
Okay. This whole thing with Robert Kraft, it's funny, man, but I take it a little bit more seriously. And to me, it's a predictable thing that happens. Let me give you a rundown of what Robert Kraft has done pretty much in the last 10 months this year.
Where you going?
April, yeah, April 11th, 2018, he visits Meek Mill in jail. Everybody knows Meek Mill there's no reason for him to be in jail at the time. But I'm going to give you a quote from Robert Kraft. He says, I know some of our players in the NFL have talked about this, and I see firsthand that it's just wrong. So this is just an isolated incident. No big deal. 2 weeks later, Meek Mill gets out of jail. All right. So clearly, Robert Kraft had a lot to do with that. Fast forward, May 9th. He's sitting courtside with Meek Mill and Gucci Mane. Game 2, 76ers and Celtics. So everything is all good. You know, he's hanging out. He's doing different things, checking out different things in his life. Super Bowl, you got Cardi B performing February 2nd. Go back to the big date, January 24th, 2019. He launches prison reform with Jay-Z, Meek Mill, and hold up, with some other ones. Let me read you these names real quick. In addition to Jay-Z and Meek Mill, The founding partners include Philadelphia 76ers co-owner and Fanatics executive chairman Michael Rubin, Kraft Group CEO and New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft, Brooklyn Nets co-owner and philanthropic investor Claire Woodside, Third Point LLC CEO and founder Daniel S. Loeb, Galaxy Digital CEO and founder Michael E. Navagratz. Goes on further to say the group has pledged $50 million to launch the organization, hire CNN commentator Van Jones as CEO. That is a big deal. You see, it's all good, when you're going to the barbecue, you're having fun, doing new things, enjoying the music, this and that, and you start cooking, you start showing up. Robert Kraft started paying for it, and that's a problem. That's a huge problem. It's all right when it's just isolated incident. Getting Meek Mill out, that's cool. That's nice, good publicity. What happened to him? February 22nd, Robert Kraft listed as part of investigation for solicitation of prostitution. A month later, after he launched his prison reform, his ass is listed for solicitation of prostitution. Y'all don't find that ironic? That's serious, man. And that's exactly what's going on. This is a very simple warning. He's not going to go to jail. He's got too much money. It's not even going to be that big of a deal. Probably pay some fine, get suspended by the NFL. But today he officially just got charged. So that's what I see is going on. It's too ironic, man. You're telling me a month later, after you launch prison reform and you put up big money for it, because now all of a sudden you have a heart because you've been around all these players that have been complaining to you about this issue. So now you putting up the money. It's a nice little warning to him, man. And he needs to understand he can get touched. And that's all that is. It's a message.
So what?
Whatever he does, he needs to be perfect in whatever he's doing. Because that was petty. He could go to Vegas and do it legally in the same country. That makes no sense, but that's the law. That's what it is. So I want to see what he does going forward. And them other guys that's on the list, I want to see what they do.
You know what? It's interesting. The other guys, other than like Michael Rubin, most of those guys don't really matter as much because they don't have their pockets ain't deep. You know what I mean? Their pockets not as deep. The interesting thing about this whole thing is this wasn't like Warren Sapp when he got busted. Like he picked up the prostitute who was a cop. It wasn't like that. This was a sting operation. This was an investigation, something that was planned and coordinated. And when you do a sting operation, the whole purpose is to catch certain targets. When you just pick up a prostitute on the street like Warren Sapp did, that's not a sting operation. You're literally just got unlucky. You picked the wrong one.
Yeah.
It's a sting operation. You are targeted. That's the part that I think people glossed over, and I'm glad you looked at that and picked up on that too, because and really dug into that because I hadn't even thought to dig into it as deep as you did. So props to you. But like when I heard about it, when I heard about the sting operation, when I first heard about Robert Kraft getting busted, I laughed. I didn't think too much of it,
I don't care.
But then a day or two later, when they talk about the investigation that went into it, because initially I was thinking what most people thought that he got arrested. He ain't get arrested. They just issued the warrant 2 hours ago today. Right before we jumped on air, they issued the warrant. He didn't get arrested, okay? When you get caught right there on the spot, you get arrested like Warren Sapp did. He didn't get arrested because it was about building up evidence, building up a case. You are a target when they do that. There's a huge difference. People not catching that. Yeah. And there's a reason that he's a target. You don't just target Robert Kraft for no reason. It don't happen. I mean, you think this is the first time that he been down to Jupiter, Florida, where the millionaires hang out, and he picked up some prostitutes at a spa? No.
They all do it. Everybody, hold up, man. Everybody knows Coast owner does coke every single day.
Yes.
He out here partying, living it up. We know what these rich people do, man. They all paying for sex. I don't care. To me, it's a waste of my tax dollars. You're a grown-ass woman, and you decide you want to sell your body. Grown man, he wants to pay for it. Beyond me. But when you have money like that, I don't care. As long as it don't involve kids or, anything against somebody's will, then we have a problem. This is clearly, like you said, a sting operation. Why are y'all sitting out here looking at an Asian parlor for what? For what? Who cares? I'm telling you, bruh. He messed up. They own him.
Yeah,
It's a lot
he
of
pissed them
money in
off.
prison, dog. It's a lot of money in prison, and they putting us in jail every day with trumped up charges, and he's trying to end that. They say, oh, no. You got one out. That's fine. But you're not about to take a lot out.
Yeah,
No. Now you messing with big pockets. He a billionaire. He can get touched.
exactly.
That's all that is. That's all
Everybody
that
can
is.
get touched if you don't play by the rules. It's that simple. If you don't play by the rules, you can't get touched. And Robert Kraft is getting touched right now. It's just that simple. And like I
Yep.
said, props to you for even doing the research on it, because I hadn't even thought that far back. I didn't think no more than the actual sting operation, and that didn't even come right away. That, because initially I just laughed. I didn't think nothing of it. Okay, he a
I
billionaire.
did.
He
I
got
did.
busted for prostitution. I was laughed. It was like, okay, he gonna
That's
be all
the
right.
first,
But
bro.
then
That's
the
the
report
first thing
of
that
the
came to
sting,
my mind.
yeah, the
First thing
report
that came
of the
to my mind.
sting, when I realized that he wasn't even arrested yet, that this was just the investigation. Oh no, because that ain't how it works with prostitution. You don't investigate prostitution. You catch them or you don't. Investigation
Right.
means target it. This
It's
was a sting
prostitutes
operation,
walking
and
around.
they went after him.
It's
So
prostitutes walking around in every major city
yeah,
every night, and
yeah,
cops drive past them. They don't
cops
care.
pick them up.
It's not important. There's other things you need to be out here doing. But when they want to get to somebody, they can. And he needs to understand, if you're going to continue, you need to watch your back, number one, and you need to be damn near perfect,
Yeah,
because you stepping in the area that we've been complaining about, and now he sees. This is real, bro. This is
yeah.
a real issue, and it might get worse. I'm very interested to see a year or two from now what he continues to do with this
I,
prison reform.
I agree.
I just want to sit back. I just want to see,
I agree
because
100%.
they make it hard for some of these guys that want to change things, that want to make the world a better place. They make it hard on you.
I'm gonna say this real quick. Anybody out there that watched the show Ballers, I really like that show a lot. Uh, Initially, when I started watching it, I thought it was gonna be a show because it's The Rock and you got John David Washington, Denzel Washington's son. I thought it would just be an interesting show about athletes and football players and stuff like that. But it turned out to be a lot better than what I thought it was. Yeah, it's funny, and yeah, you get a whole bunch of other stuff and drama, but they touch on a lot of stuff in this show that people don't touch on, from politics to race issues and all kind of stuff. But this past season, they touched on something that I've never seen touched on show, movie, anything. And that's the issue with the NCAA and the politics that comes with that. As far as money goes, as far as players getting paid, all that stuff. They touched on all of it for the NCAA. And there's one part where Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, he's mentoring this high school kid, and he's the number one quarterback in the country, black kid out in California. And the kid is trying to pick what school he wants to go to. And The Rock has a huge influence on it, because not only is he mentoring him, but he's dating his mom. So when the NCAA finds out that The Rock has so much influence, they're trying to use him to leverage where he goes. Where's the money going to go? Is he going to go to USC or is he going to go to Ohio State? Is the two schools that he was looking at the hardest. But then when The Rock says, screw this, make your money, you can get paid by picking a network that you're going to announce your decision on, like LeBron did. And he says, screw what they're saying. Do you get your money? The NCAA was so pissed, not that he did this, that they wasn't in on the deal. They got him pulled over on his way to the airport. He had prescription drugs that the doctor gave him from past injuries, concussions, knee surgeries, all this stuff. Most athletes have a bunch of prescription drugs on them at all times. That's legal. He had a bag of prescription drugs. They had him pulled over, took him and his drugs and said his drugs was illegal and threw him in jail. But they didn't keep him there. They only kept him there for a few hours. Then someone from the NCAA came down there and said, This was just a warning to let you know what we're capable of. Either you gonna fall back and let us do us, or we're gonna have problems. I thought that scene was so unbelievably deep because it's true. That's how the NCAA works, and that's how sports in a lot of ways works, and politics in general. But for them to do that, I thought that was real deep. Great. It was a great scene. Good show. You definitely should check it out if you ain't never watched it. But what you just said is exactly what happened in that scene. And I find that to be interesting because now you're talking about Robert Kraft, who's a billionaire and who's really stepping out on a limb here, trying to make some sort of change. So now what's going to happen? Is he still on that limb?
Hey, I'm telling you, Robert Kraft, you on thin ice, bro. Welcome.
He on that limb. Real quick, before we get out of here, I want to ask you this question. I meant to ask you it earlier. It slipped my mind a little bit. 10 teams, okay? You got the Colts, you got the Jets, you got the Bills, Browns, Texans, you got the 49ers, the Raiders, the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Seahawks. Those are the 10 teams with the most cap space in the NFL, ranging from $106 million to $50 million. Between those 10 teams, who do you think would be the best fit for either Le'Veon or AD or both? Go.
The best fit for both of them is the Colts. I mean, come on, man. That O-line, imagine if they had Le'Veon Bell back there.
Woo!
And imagine if you got T.Y. doing what he does in the slot or the outside, and you got A.B. on the other side with Andrew Luck healthy again. Now, that is the best fit. And they got the most money. They can go get him. Now, if I'm the coach, I don't know if I trade for A.B. because I ain't got time for prima donna receivers. And to be honest, they don't win Super Bowls. Please name me a prima donna receiver that has won a Super Bowl that you can think of. Exactly.
I would need more time. You can't put me on the spot.
You should need more time because ain't none of them win. The receivers that win championships run the right route. And they ain't crying all the time.
Yeah.
But anyways, Le'Veon and AB, that would be the perfect spot. Now, as a Chiefs fan, I want no part of that at all. I need them to go to the NFC. AB, man, what was some of the NFC teams? Seattle? Man, go to Seattle. AB, go to Seattle, man, play with Russell Wilson. That actually is a good fit. Le'Veon would be a good fit out there as well. The other good fit for Le'Veon would be the Browns.
Yes.
My bad.
They got Kareem Hunt. If they didn't have Kareem Hunt.
They got too many running backs.
Yeah, if they didn't have Kareem Hunt.
I take that back. AB would be a better fit for the Browns, but, I mean, the Steelers are not going to trade to him division team, so that's not going to happen. So, I mean, Le'Veon, I say the Colts, man. I don't want to see him go play with the Jets. That's what I don't want to see because that is legitimately just taking the most money and not worrying about winning at all or your career or injuries, any success. Le'Veon, if it's a little bit less to go play with the Colts, man, please go play with the Colts, dog. I'm just thinking as a human being, man. Seriously, do not go play with the Jets. And you definitely don't want to go play with the garbage Raiders. I say, man, the Colts. And I wouldn't go play with Baltimore because I'm not a believer in Lamar Jackson being able to throw the ball. So, I mean, you're going to run it 20 times a game, which is nice, but you're not going to win that way eventually. And he's a receiving running back as well, like a legit receiver. I don't want to see him in Baltimore, man. The best place is the Colts. I don't want to see it as a Chiefs fan, but if I was, a friend of his, agent, go to Indianapolis.
Yeah. You know what? The Colts it's really a perfect storm to have 106. That's a crazy number to me. $106 million in cap space. That's how much money they can spend this year. This year, and they a playoff team, a playoff team having that much money this year. And what they was able to do with their offensive line, this is the first time in Andrew Luck's career he had an offensive line, and you saw what happened. He was a legit MVP candidate, and he balled, and he's healthy again. And, he took Eric Ebron, tight end, who to this point in his career, he was the number 10 overall pick in the draft. He was drafted before Odell Beckham and Aaron Donald. Let that sink in. All right? He was drafted in the same draft 1 pick or 2 picks before Odell and 3 picks before Aaron Donald. Let that sink in. Has been a bust to this point. But this year with Andrew Luck, he looked like the man. You see what I'm saying? So now you got a quarterback who literally elevates players. But one thing you didn't mention about the Colts of why AB and Le'Veon will be a good fit there is Andrew Luck is not only a good leader, something they've never had, he's a nice guy. He's a real nice guy.
He would love Andrew Luck.
He would love
them. They would get along.
He would love them.
For Antonio Brown, he needs to go to a positive place that's going to get him the ball. And a quarterback he is going to get along with. Like you said, Andrew Luck is a good guy. He's a goofy type of guy.
Dirty,
but
he feeds his targets. When he got a weapon, he feeds it. Remember when he first got in the league and he had Reggie Wayne? He lit Reggie Wayne up with targets. And then he got T.Y. Hilton. He lit him up with targets. But he don't just throw it to you a bunch of times like Matthew Stafford did with Calvin Johnson. He's accurate. Okay? So, yes, that will be the perfect fit, especially with that O-line and you got Le'Veon in the backfield. Unlike what Ben Roethlisberger was able to do with those two, I believe Andrew Luck will win a Super Bowl. However, I don't believe
Last thing about Andrew Luck, you will never hear him complain about any of his teammates publicly.
Yeah, and that's what I mean about he's a nice guy. He's not going to do all that. That's not who he is. Exactly. But the reason why that won't happen is because the Colts are a playoff team, and I don't believe the Steelers would trade them to a conference foe that's a playoff team. If they're going to trade in the conference, you got to be bottom of the barrel like the Jets. You know. Now, according to what the reports, the stipulations as far as AB's trade goes, you know, Le'Veon can go wherever the hell he wants. If he want to go to the Colts, he can. Right. As far as AB goes, they say they didn't X out the Colts. They X'd out the Patriots. They said we're not going to trade him to the Patriots and we're not going to trade him in the division. So that cancels out the Browns. However, with that being said, while the Colts make the most sense as far as AB goes, first off, let me just say this. I think if Le'Veon is going to go to any NFC team, I think the Seahawks make the most sense. I don't want to see that because they play the Rams twice a year, but I think that would be dangerous because Russell Wilson, whether you like him or not, carried them to the playoffs this year. If you put a Le'Veon there, there's trouble. That's with Le'Veon. But you talk about AB, the team on these top 10 that can afford to bring an AB on as far as cap space goes, that makes the most sense for AB personally as a man is the Browns. And I'll tell you why. Baker Mayfield. You take a Baker Mayfield personality and an AB personality, they're going to be best friends. It's just that simple.
It's going to be.
They're going to be best friends.
At first. As soon as they run into I'm telling you, as soon as they run into some adversity, they're going to be fired.
Hey,
and they don't have a coach to stop that fire. No, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that for Baker Mayfield. I like what he got. He is a leader of that squad. He don't have to deal with no prima donnas out there. They all love him.
I'll give you another one that I'll throw in real quick before we get out of here. Put either of them or both could really fit on this roster, the Texans. Because you already got Nuke. If you put an AB on the other side, it's over. Deshaun Watson's winning the Super Bowl. If you give him an AB with Nuke on, they're going to light it up.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They will light it up.
Do you know that man got sacked 3 times a game last season? 3 times.
I know he was holding the ball.
3 times a game.
I know he was holding the ball.
They not winning no Super Bowl if they get AB. I ain't trying to hear that. They gonna beat the Patriots because they got Antonio Brown. Man, get out of here. I'm sorry, your team. No, that was you going way too far, bro.
I don't think it is, man. I look at it and I say that I believe that their defense is good enough, especially now that you got J.J. Watt back healthy. Jadeveon Clowney, he ain't and became what the player they thought he would be, but he's good enough. Yeah, he's good enough. You know what I'm saying? He's a good player. And then they got a legit secondary. You know, like they got a good defense. So then you telling me that you add an AB that will truly open that offense up? I don't know, man. I think it'd be a beautiful thing. But Well, who knows? We'll see how this offseason shake out. It's going to be interesting to see what happened with those two players specifically. This week you got the combine coming up, so these things all play a role. What happens in free agency and all this stuff gonna be an interesting ride. I really want to see what happened with the Lakers. They got 23 games to get their act together, specifically LeBron. It's a lot of stuff coming up. We got a lot of things coming up here for sports in generals. Anything you want to touch on before we get out of here?
Nah, man. Shout out little Jordan Humphries.
Hey, Lil Jordan, I'm gonna see you at the combine this week. Lil Jordan Humphrey from Texas. That's my cat right there.
Little
Hey,
Jordan out here, man.
that's all we got this week. That's all we got for today. We're gonna holler at y'all later. We out. Peace.
All right.